This street stood on Göta, and you can see this above the red door if you look at the house number. You see what it says?
17 and off.
17 and a half is the house number. And there is, of course, a story behind this half number. And that story is that when they started to build Göta, they were a bit too excited. So they started to build both from the right-hand side and from the left-hand side at the same time. And when they came to the middle, there were two houses, but only one house number left. So it had to be 17 and 17 and a half. The only half number that we have so far. On the other side of the canal, here through the trees, you might be able to spot a building that's currently getting renovated. It's the Garden Association. The Garden Association was built during the late 19th century in a Victorian style, and it was built after they cleaned out the moat system that we're traveling on here today, and they got a lot of rich soil that they wanted to put to use. So they did this in the form of the Garden Association. And today, the building is mostly famous for its large rose collection. They have over 1,200 different types of roses inside the building.
Oh.
Another part of the Garden Association is this brown building here. It was Sweden's largest seeds market back in the day. They actually sold 40,000 different types of seeds inside this building. Today, it's the Swedish Cultural House for the Swedish cartoon character called Alfie Atkins, or Alfons Åberg in Swedish. We're now going to be passing under our second bridge of the tour, and it's quite narrow. It's called the Gatelock Bridge, so please keep your hands inside the boat. After the Gatelock Bridge, of course, comes the Gatelock itself, built in the year 1873. It's the oldest gatelock that we have here in Gothenburg for the single reason that it's the only gatelock that we have here in Gothenburg. It's actually still in use today, like I said, the Paddan Tour, during our winter tours when we travel upstream towards the amusement park, Liseberg. On our right-hand side, we have the Central Station and the Queen's Square located. And the Queen's Square is called Queen's Square because of the Queen's Gate, the city gate that was located here when there was a big city wall around Gothenburg. It was one of the three different ways you could travel into our city at this point in time. And the Central Station, it is the oldest train station that we have in our country that is still in use today. But before it was here, it was actually the Gothenburg City Prison. If the full moat system still existed, another part of our moat would now go out here towards the right-hand side, towards the Göta River, which we're going to later be going on to. We're also very famous for the different trams that we have in our city. We built these trams at the end of the 19th century, but they were powered by 2 horses, and there was only room for 8 passengers in total. So the rest of us, we had to walk. And the different trams, they departed up in front from our left-hand side from Paddan, or the Wells Park, as it's called in English. It's Gothenburg's smallest park, but it might be the most important one, since almost all of the public transportation in our city either travels through the Wells Park or the Central Station. Here in the spot is also the first statue of a woman in our city, and it's the statue of Joanne. In the beginning, she was called something in French, but it was a bit too difficult to remember, so we forgot how to say it, and today she's called Joanne instead. Here is the statue of Joanne. We're now going to be passing under the love bridge, so make sure that you kiss the person next to you. Here we have him, the man, the myth, the legend himself, King Gustav II Otto, our founder here in Gothenburg. Here he's portrayed standing on a mountain close to us called Göta, and then looking over the swamplands and deciding, here, city shall be. Up in front on our right hand side we have the German church, also known as the Christian Church. And in the beginning this church, it was actually made from wood, but then one day it burned down with big parts of our city. So we decided to build it up again, this time made out of stone. But as soon as the church was finished, well then it burned down again. So then we built it up again, and of course nothing could go wrong this time. But it did, since it burned down again. So then we built it up again, and that's the church you can see today. In front of us on our right hand side, we have a building that's currently getting renovated. This might be the most important building in the whole of Gothenburg, because this was the East Indian Trading Company's main office and warehouse. The East Indian Trading Company, it was a trading company that imported different spices, porcelain and teas, primarily from China here to Sweden. And today this building is used as the Gothenburg City Museum. Worth noting about the East Indian Trading Company is that when it was active, it was one of the most successful companies in the world. But even though the owners got richer, well, the crew didn't, because they were paid very poorly, and roughly 20% of all crew died during each trip to China. Also, since we're so few people, it's actually a king, but he's an ordinary king either. This is actually
they don't want to specify India.
Jonas Alströmer. Jonas Alströmer, he was said to be the one that took the potato from the central part of Europe here to Sweden. However, on later notes, we know that this isn't true, because he only took credit for it. They got his own statue anyway, since he was such an important entrepreneur and helped industrialize our country. He was also the first one to say that you can eat the potato instead of just making liquor out of it.
Whoa.
Up on our left-hand side, you can see a yellow building, and it's the residency, Gothenburg's oldest inhabited building. It was built in the year 1651, 30 years after our city was founded. It's also here that the Swedish royal family lived when they're visiting our city. And then it's a Swedish flag on top of the building, as it is today, but today it's instead a Swedish flag because there is a holiday here in Sweden. So unfortunately, they're not here today. We're now going to be passing under the two lowest bridges of our tour, and under the second bridge, up on your left-hand side, hanging from the roof of the bridge, we have a kitchen pool. I can give you a hint to what this bridge is called. So hanging from the roof of the bridge, up on your left-hand side, you see this kitchen pool. Here you can see this kitchen tool. See what it was? It was a cheese slicer. And this bridge is called the cheese slicer because back in the day it was a meter lower than this thing. So therefore, if you did a duck time, well, then you got the top of your head sliced off. And does everybody see the number 3 there on the bridge behind us? That's how many tour guides we've lost to the cheese slicer. Welcome out to the Göta River, Sweden's largest and longest river. You can find many things out here on the Göta River, but mostly different ships. And next to us right now, you can see a ship called Juno. And the special thing with Juno is that she's actually the world's oldest passenger ferry, which you can overnight in. She was built in the year 1874, and she's still in use today. She actually travels here from Gothenburg to Stockholm during the summer months, and you can choose different tours, so 2-day tours, 4-day tours, or 6-day tours. But she's still in use today, as I said. You can see even more ships in front of us on our right hand side, and these ships, they are part of the Sea Maritime Museum, one of the largest floating museums in all the world. They have a large collection of different ships, as I said, but they also have a submarine that you can actually enter. So I highly recommend that you give this place a visit. The ship that we have here, this gray one, it's called the Destroyer Småland. It was built in the year 1952 here in Gothenburg at the Eriksberg's shipyard. She was built to be a submarine destroyer. She had a crew of 259 people, and an engine, it produced 40,000 horsepower. So in front of us, I can't really hide this large building anymore. It's this large red and white building. It's called the Lipstick. It was built to be a bit characteristic for Gothenburg, since London had Big Ben and Paris had the Eiffel Tower. Well, we wanted to build the Lipstick. And this building, it has gotten quite a large amount of attention actually. It has won numerous awards. Awards for being Sweden's ugliest building 7 years in a row. Next one, we have the Gothenburg Opera House. It was built in the year 1994 to replace the Grand Theater inside the central part of our city. It was also built so it would blend into the Gothenburg boat and harbor theme. That's why the rampart in the middle is supposed to look like a lighthouse. Middle bars at top is supposed to look like the different cranes in our city. And the gray part of the building, which you're going to be able to see soon, is supposed to look like a ship with the front of the ship facing this way. But we might be able to spot this a bit better once we turn around. We've also arrived at Lilla Bommen, the guest harbor of Gothenburg. You can find many different types of ships from all over the world here. You can also find our archipelago tours here at Strömma. If you want to go out to the archipelago, eat some nice food, and listen to a guide, you can do this with one of the 2 ships here, called Carl Bella, as well as Göteborg. So if you have any questions about this, you can ask me after the tour if you would want to. But there's one ship here that is more impressive than any of them else, and it's the one in front of us right now, called the Bark Viking.